Shalom, Shalom. Kahalal, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Baharakal Kadash. Also, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rokal Kadash, Barakathum. To you brothers, and double honors to our apostles who are elders who rule well. Also, blessed salutations to you brothers out there teaching and enduring truth and sincerity. Another blessings and salutations to the weak that are amongst tares and the innumerable multitude that endure this truth and sincerity. I want to go into history for a second, just proving that Esau is not for our turn, as Sirach was Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha says in chapter 12 verse 10, says, never trust thy enemy, as iron rusted, pretty much shows its wickedness, right? I'm pretty much recording, so I'm able to go back and forth at the moment, but this is the we're going to go into the tale of let's see here. His name is Pompey, but I'm trying to get his first name real quick. I believe his last name was Factor. His first name was Pompey Factor. Okay, he was could have been either Negro or a Seminole, pretty much Negro, Judah, Seminole, Reuben, okay, of descent. But in the Book of Black Indians by William Loren Katz, page 85, around that area, it just pretty much goes into the thick and thins of what the natives were doing. The tribe of Reuben pretty much was, they was fucking them up in Florida. They agreed to a treaty, and Esau pretty much promised them land, ultimately leading them to travel to Mexico or Texas, where there was being hired as scouts in the military army, pushing out raiders and different excursions and missions. And it said that these 4 scouts pretty much they kicked ass for 24 or 20 years. Let's see here. They pretty much was pushing out every excursion for about 24 to 20 years in a time of, I believe, all the way up until 1914. One of the scouts by the name of, I don't want to get his name wrong. See here, by the name of Adam Payne. One of them, they pretty much connected him with a murder of a black soldier, and they pretty much executed him. They rode up so close that he was supposed to be up for arrest, but they rode up so close that when they shot him in the back with the shotgun, it lit his clothes on fire, right? But this is not the point. This was a partial of the point, proving that you can do all this work from Esau, because Jake loved to believe that you can win from within. All right, and that's not the case, because Pompey Factor, one of the scouts for the who won a congressional Medal of Honor for the U.S. military for saving Lieutenant Bulis, which he was a lieutenant for the American Army. I forget his name, his first name. Let's see here. I want to get his first name, because I believe Bulis was a Jake himself within that situation. His name was John L. Bulis. He lived from 1873 to 1882. Okay, or he was active in his campaign 1873 to 1882. I was like, how can that be true? Because he died in 1911. So he pretty much, Bulis intermarried with the natives. He married an Israelite, actually. He married the natives. He lived with them, he fought with them, which was none of the traits that Esau has. So that's the reason why I believe he's a tear. or he's wheat that looks like a tear. Um, and going into Pompey, Pompey fought for the American army as a scout. They stricken their rations. But I want to read this paragraph here. Okay, it says Pompey factor as a young private helped save the life of Lieutenant Bulis because Bulis fell off a horse and Pompey and all other 3 scouts rolled back and pretty much went back to get him as they were getting chased, to the point that their sling was getting shot off, the stock of their rifle got busted up, and they ended up saving Bulis, and that's how he received the Medal of Honor. It says, but years later, he could not even get an army pension. In his late 70s, and still carrying the empty case that once held his medal, he asked a Texas lawyer to plead his case before the army brass. It was no use. The army responded that it had no record of his services. Okay. 2 years later, in 1928, Pompey Factor died and was buried in Brackettville, Texas. His funeral expenses of $84.40 were paid by a friend because he died penniless without an army pension. Okay, and one may say that, okay, we're in a different time. They do that now. They may pay you because you can't just repeat something and say that you're not going to do it again, right? So they may let you into college, they may let you do these things, but at the end of the day, this shows the level of disrespect and lack of acknowledgement that they have for Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, all right? Because when I read this immediately reminded me of the Drew Brees story, talking about, kneeling to the flag, my grandpa and my granddad, and that's what I think of. Hey, our people been fighting in all these wars, man. It's just the fact that we're not, okay, just because our people fought in these wars doesn't mean that we're partaking in a part of the benefits of Babylon, okay? These people receive housing, they receive different pensions, different payments, all the way up until now, man, okay? Our people were sent on the front line and all kind of things for the U.S. of A, okay? And what did we get in return? We don't even get recognized in history unless it's a pivotal moment like the Red Tails or something like that. When in all actuality, they've been using us and we've been used to fight off incursions or problems within and fighting our problems without, okay? But our people been fighting for this military since it began, since it started. And our people been doing most of the work for the military since it started, all right? And Esau takes all the credit, okay? So the whole mindset of fighting and coming up is derogatory because we've been doing that since the beginning. Our people felt like if I do this, Esau will help me. If I fight for their country in any type of way, live the American dream, have the American mindset, be a businessman, do whatever. And these people will not remember nothing you did. All right? And then they'll take the credit for themselves. And then on top of that, when our kids and our kids' kids are to be born, God forbid, and which I believe that we're the generation that's gonna get up out of here. But hypothetically, if our kids were to be born, it ain't gonna do nothing but restart a cycle that's been taken away from us, man. Because Esau let you shine and expose your skills, okay? And then he'll take it and claim it as his own. He'll let you do all the work, and then when you finish, he just put his name on it, man. Jake be out here creating fads, dances, styles. No, Dapper Dan right now is working for Gucci, man. Who you think is gonna get all the credit for all his work? These new Gucci shoes are fire. This new Gucci jacket is cold. They don't say Dapper Dan is killing it, right? So going back to the scriptures, it says, give not that which is honorable unto another nation, man, which is ultimately our culture, man. All right, and the Bible is our culture. That's why we're not supposed to give that into them. And within that culture, our lifestyle, our groove, and our people are so quick to give Esau our culture. They don't appreciate it, man. And only if they if they do appreciate, just like they did to the natives, they'll take it by force. All right, or they'll demonize somebody and then put somebody. They'll demonize Chuck Berry and then put out a Elvis Presley. All right, they'll demonize us in the army. All right, saying that we're cowards or we'll shoot each other up. But our people have been fighting in this army for years, which is why our nation, our generation is like, fuck them, man. You know what I'm saying? Because we've seen what our grandparents, our parents and grandparents, and our great-grandparents have done for this country, and look at where we're at. All right? But waking up in this truth, we know that it ain't going to amount to nothing with these people because they're spiritually not in the place. All that racism is taught BS. That's just trying to make you lower your guard to trust another heathen so they can break another treaty of yours or utilize your culture. Because a lot of these Edomites that like to be friends with you, they'll be friends with you and do all the stuff that you do and listen to the music because they can't do it they can't come by themselves. You know what I'm saying? They can't come to the hood or come to Jake culture by themselves. They got to find a canary in the cave to teach them and to have fun with it. You know what I'm saying? I've came across Edomites say, oh, you stay in the hood, what is it like? And all that, you know what I'm saying? Asking all these questions, man. And they're amazed by it. And they like Paul Mooney said, everybody want to be a nigga until they got to be a nigga. And always say everybody want to be a nigga but don't want to be a nigga. You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna sacrifice their lives as we do, man. Okay? And you might say, oh, Edomites was out there for the protest. They weren't out there for us. They were out there for the people that represented the opposing side of the protest. All right, they was protesting them. You know what I'm saying? Which is normally your Trump supporters or different things, and they may have a problem with, the grab them by the pussy line or what Trump represents or what those people represent. They weren't out there for us and our injustice, man. All right, and if they were Israelite trapped in a Edomite body, man. So I just wanted to put that out there, man. And this is horrendous because the scriptures tell you, one of the things that the Most High find hateful, a man of war that suffered poverty, man. All right, and he'll do it to his own soldiers, but he definitely did it to our people with the things that were promised and guaranteed. They guaranteed them land. These people are fighting for you, and you can't even give them a place to stay. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, you giving Edomites land, cattle, and then fast forward to this time, they'll tell you need to work hard like my grandparents work hard. Our great-grandparents and grandparents were fighting alongside these niggas, if not doing more, all right, because our lives were valued as less and have nothing to show for it. But then when Esau, you got this land, with this land you done got this farm, with this farm, you know what I'm saying, you send this and that person off to college, he becomes a CEO of a company. Meanwhile, we have no avenue towards this. All right, no avenue towards this because it's unremembered, taken away, a lot about. All right, so never trust our enemy. All right, they can though their words be smoother than butter, yet wars in their heart. Anytime we come up and we do something as a nation, all right, they're gonna chop it down. They're gonna try their best to destroy it. Going back to the Black Wall Street, going back to many other things. That's the first terroristic act, home terroristic act ever created. That's the first time the Americans bombed Americans on American soil, man. Was to destroy a Negro neighborhood that was flourishing amongst the Devil's Punch Bowl in Mississippi when they let go the slaves, and then the slaves were doing good, and then they pretty much constricted them and put walls around the city to the point they begged to be back into slavery, only to destroy them and to bury them in the same land that they was trapped in. These people are devious and unworthy to be trusted. Okay, for you people that are shallow-minded and don't understand the spirituality of it, you will never get on the good side of an Edomite unless it's to their benefit. And when you're no longer of their benefit, they're going to destroy you. Look at these actors and musicians and entertainers, man, and athletes. You're the best thing since sliced bread until you do something that they don't like, and then they demonize you. But they won't do it until they own. All right, they do all this. What they did to Jack Johnson with the monkey wrench and all that. And Elvis Presley legally married somebody that was like 14 years old, man. You know, look how they treat the prophets. Look how they got mega churches everywhere, man. Set up by heathens and our people, but they're set up by heathens, and our people drive and flock to it, man, because they have that Stockholm syndrome. All right, at the end of the day, Esau's gonna be put down, man. You know, I just wanted to put that out there because I found it very sorrowful for somebody to put that much investment. You know, reading the story, it was you can almost picture how they went to war and fought off 4 men fighting off 25. You know what I'm saying? Doing all this for the American army, and then they say, I don't even remember you. You know what I'm saying? That shows the wickedness of this society and shows winning from the inside don't work, man. All right? Hey, shalom.